And we are live once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is NBA preseason. You guys hooked us up yesterday. We got over 200 combined likes on the two videos. So here's members only again, free to the public. Hopefully it helped some of you guys yesterday. And I know you did all right. Some of the plays worked, some of them didn't, but kind of like loading up on like Zach LaVine and Kobe White. And I know you had a ton of Drummond as well. It was a nice kind of like baseline for points.
Yeah, it was a big baseline. It was big for me that Shy got benched at half. And yeah, you just got to kind of be weary and leery of all that stuff because you never know when it's going to happen.
You know, unless you get the Pelican situation from a couple of days ago where the coach says how much they're going to play, it's all a gigantic guessing game right now. I think I ended up with 8 lineups yesterday, which is a little bit on the aggressive side of things for me, but I was able to actually work on them a little bit more than normal. And I only played Shy once or twice because I liked Kobe White and Zach LaVine more. I just trusted him to see more minutes. So I didn't even think about it until you just said it, but that was a big help not using him.
Yeah, for me, what killed me was I stacked that first game a ton. I mean, I even left money on the salary in a bunch of my lines. And a train, like I had the same lineup as like a train of like 10 people, but I had Mitchell Robinson and they had Ayton. And Mitchell Robinson was really good. But
He
Ayton got
closed hard.
Yeah. Who, Mitchell Robinson?
No, yeah, Mitchell Robinson had a great fourth quarter.
He did. But then Ayton, scored like 3 more points than him, and that screwed me. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I had a mixture of Giles, which was terrible. You know, you kind of started softening on him as the day progressed. Mitchell Robinson and Andre Drummond at the center position. And Drummond was fantastic, but man, he would have been the play of the night if he had just played a little bit longer.
Yeah, he was still like pretty much a must-have.
He was good, but man, he would have been great if he had seen more than the 23 minutes. But no reason to cry or talk fun over spilt milk or what happened yesterday. We're here to break down today. We got a bigger slate tonight, 7 games. I know you're really interested in this one. Just to reiterate, guys, go check out overlaydfs.com. They are the show sponsor. We'll hook you up with a free 5-pack membership for all new depositors. Just send me a screenshot of that. And lifetime memberships are currently on sale. It gets all 3 sports that we take care of. They market retail at $400, on sale for $300 right now. Pay through the website, and I'll send you a reimbursement. It'll be all set up for NBA for the start of the season and the rest of the NFL. Otherwise, if you just want to send the money straight through PayPal or Venmo, the addresses are below. We're going to go through this one team by team, and let's start with the Orlando Magic right now that are playing Game 3 of their preseason. Have you heard anything about coaches' plans for their minutes this evening?
I have not.
Okay. One of the plays of the season so far in the preseason has been Vucevic, who has just been out there doing Vucevic things, rolled into it just short of 40 DK points last time out while playing 33 minutes. I think you have to look at him unless we find out that they are going to simp down the minutes of these guys.
Yeah, he's definitely in play. There's just other studs I like more. We finally have a slate with like a bunch of really good players, and I'm just not going to prioritize his 8K salary.
I gotcha. Completely understand that. I like the safety of his minutes, but that doesn't mean Game 3 is safe. Game 3 seems to be a spot where a lot of coaches go bigger. You saw it with the Blazers last night. But that does not mean that the Orlando Magic prescribed to the same theory. So pay attention. Follow the beat writers on Twitter if you can. If you find out any more information, wonderful. But nothing is guaranteed in the preseason, as you guys all know. In Game 2, the Orlando Magic gave Fultz really, really good minutes. He almost 40 DK points. Fournier was playing big minutes, but he fouled out and did not play very well. Aaron Gordon continues to see very low minutes, so I wouldn't want to do anything with him right there. And the young guy, Anthony, had himself a really nice game as well.
Yeah, he did. So I think you can definitely look at these guys. There's other spots I like more, but no reason you can't look at Orlando.
Okay. Nobody on this game that you're really specifically looking at then?
Correct.
Okay. That point guard, Cole Anthony that we mentioned, he's 4,600. If you want to give him a whirl, I doubt anybody's really using him tonight.
I agree. Point guard's loaded. I wanted to spend up position for me, so I like the idea of spend. If he's definitely in play for me, if I'm looking for a cheaper guy, like 100%.
All right, so Anthony, and then I appear to be more interested in Vucevic than you are, but
I get it.
Any deep dive that you can find in minutes though is going to be a big help.
For me, it's just because I like other guys. Like I completely get why anyone would like Vooch.
Okay. I'm going to jump off this game and we're going to get back to Charlotte in a minute. I just want to move over to Atlanta against Memphis because I got the box score from the most previous game from Atlanta pulled up. And I just think really will just jump around for a second. In their second game, Trae Young and the boys played significantly more minutes than they did in game one. I know there was a lot of letdowns on Atlanta in game one. They shifted Bogdanovich down to the bench and moved Red Velvet into the starting lineup. It's possible you might see some Rondo in here tonight. Not somebody I'd be looking at. I think a guy that most people wouldn't use who played really well in game two, if you're trying to get sneaky, would be Danilo Gallinari. Not somebody I would put in an optimal lineup, but I'm guessing he has no ownership tonight.
I agree. He's kind of expensive, so he's not really a guy I'm looking at too hard. For me, the guys I like from Atlanta are Trae Young a lot. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think John Collins is in play. And then if Capella's out, I'll probably just lock in Fernando at 4K.
Okay. Capella is questionable. For those of you who haven't noticed, I thought I said it sounded like they thought he'd play probable.
Okay.
So I think that would put Capella in play as well. I mean, again, the probable tag or the questionable tag doesn't make you feel better about him, but we know how quickly he walks into DFS points, and that 5,500 salary is very affordable.
No doubt about it. For me, from this game, though, I'm looking hard at Trae Young and Morant. If I'm making one lineup, they'd both be in it.
Okay. We'll move over to Memphis next, or after this one. I just wanted to touch on Atlanta because we have the box score up. I'm with you on Trae Young. He is a guy that I am looking at, and there's a couple other point guards I like for big money as well. Definitely doesn't hurt him if Rondo's out again.
For sure.
Not that I think you don't play him if Rondo's in, because I don't think Rondo's like a major influence on it, but it definitely doesn't hurt him if Rondo is out.
100% agreed.
Okay, so let's move over to Charlotte, where the injury-prone Gordon Hayward is injured again. So he is not a thing this evening. Was there anybody on the Charlotte side of things? I'm guessing you like your balls again tonight. LaMelo?
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but it probably won't play him. Point guard's just too loaded.
It's going to be an issue. As per most NBA slates, the preseason has been no different. Point guard and center are typically loaded while you're stuck filling in with the skill position players around them. There wasn't anybody on Charlotte like I was in love with. Bridges maybe with no Hayward.
Yeah, I don't hate that call.
Okay. Not a optimal lineup type of guy, but like if I were to run 8 lineups again like I did last night, he's a guy I might play like once.
I agree.
Okay. Anything else from Charlotte that tickled you at all?
Not really.
No, me either. I get it if you want to take a shot on a Washington. I wouldn't. You don't think he'd even make one of my 8 lineups. It was definitely just minor Bridges exposure at best, or maybe like a Devontae Graham who's really affordable and kind of like a point guard with shooting guard eligibility.
Yeah, I don't hate that call. I will say I think another slate where I'll just fade the first 2 games.
Okay. Yeah, because if we're about to touch on Detroit, I mean, there's really nothing here for me.
I have zero interest in Detroit.
They didn't even have any good players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in Washington either. Like, Westbrook's probably going to play. He's not going to see a full workload. That takes almost everyone out, in my opinion.
Yeah, as far as Detroit, I think you're just guessing. This Dumbledore guy, whatever the hell his name, and he was really good in game 2. Blake Griffin's very affordable, but I don't know. I had nothing here I was looking at either. And like you brought up with Washington, sounds like Westbrook. Oh, he's listed as out, but I heard he was. Never mind, he's out. It says here.
Right. Well, that definitely changes things.
Okay, wasn't a guy I was really looking at. Has Washington even played yet? They played a Sunday game, right?
They did.
Yeah, that's why we didn't watch it at all.
Washington could definitely be in play now because they have other guys that are out. I saw Rui was questionable. Bertans is doubtful. He's out now. No Westbrook. It definitely opens up a lot.
Yeah. It does, but it also doesn't open up anything that I have any kind of faith in. You know what I mean?
You want to box score from game 1?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I just heard also, we just touched on them. We can go back. Hornets coach James Borrego said on Thursday he expects to play his top 10 rotation guys for a minimum of 25 minutes apiece during the team's final 2 exhibition games.
All right, man. No Gordon Hayward. That does make me dig on Devontae Graham a little bit more.
I agree. And he was like the headliner on Roto World for that. So
Okay.
I definitely get that. I mean, I definitely get both sides of that game.
All right. I mean, they really spread things out in game one. I think Troy Brown Jr.
Is Beal out?
No, I think Beal is supposed to play limited minutes tonight, if my memory serves me correctly. Few minutes, not a lot.
Okay, so he's obviously not in play.
No, and what does a few minutes mean? I mean, like if I just had to guess, like 15.
I could see playing the rookie, Avija. He's 4,300. He played 24 minutes. He was a top 10 pick. I mean, he's a guy that played professionally for a while. Him and Troy Brown, especially if Rui's out.
I think Troy Brown is a guy people will look past because of his salary, that he's almost priced like a stud in a way, like he's 6,400, but he's not a household name yet. But how many times have we rostered Troy Brown with great success? He puts up DFS points. He's aggressive. In 22 minutes the other day, he put up 35 DraftKings points, 35 and a half. He could play more minutes tonight.
You're not wrong.
So I don't know if he'd make an optimal lineup, but if I were to play a Wizard, I don't feel uncomfortable with him.
I don't disagree with you one iota.
But I don't really look at Washington as a team that I trust to do anything specific tonight. I don't know what their goal is here. I don't know what their pecking order is right now. They're reshaped. They got a lot of young players to go with the veterans who aren't playing bigger minutes. So there's a lot of question marks on this one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Question marks and a slate with question marks.
Yeah, definitely.
But they do have guys you could try punting with, like Wagner, 4,100. This dude put up almost 30 DK points last game in 18 minutes.
Sure.
Okay. All right. But just to go back to Charlotte, like you said, minimum of 25 minutes. Devontae Graham at 6,100 at the shooting guard position seems desirable. And I mean, Terry's scary too at, 5,600 isn't awful.
No, I will say though, like a bunch of these teams are not playing their third game. So like we're not short on guys that are going to be playing minutes. And the later games are just much more appealing to me. Even this game, like I'm not going to touch Houston here, with Harden back, maybe playing more tonight. San Antonio, who knows what they're doing.
So it came out shortly before a lock last time out that San Antonio, that Pop said he wasn't going to play his big guys more. He was going to play some of the smaller guys to match up with Houston. It would be so Pop to do the opposite tonight, even in the same matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. My favorite piece of this, if you want to do Houston first, is no one. I'm interested in no one from Houston.
Okay. Christian Wood is questionable tonight. He could pop into it. No way would I pay 7,300 for him in game one. I'm kind of with you. It wasn't a team that I was trying to lock in anybody right here at all. I know we were big on John Wall the other game, and he was okay. He was a little better than James Harden, I think, but not today.
No, not with Harden, second game. It would be Cousins if I had to choose. He's really good, and he's still not that expensive. From the Spurs side, it would be Murray or Aldridge probably. I mean, I guess you could go back to DeRozan, but I'm not excited about it.
Lonnie Walker played better last game at 4,500, but it really comes down to it with all this is a bigger slate for NBA preseason. I'm not trying to mess with the San Antonio Spurs, which will mess with you in a regular season game, much less in a preseason game. Although I will say Rudy Gay at 5K has actually played very well throughout the preseason.
He was awesome last game. And the other guy that's been good for them is Devin Vassell. So he started last game and he got a lot of, a second half run as well. So
we'll pull up this box score really quickly. Again, this is kind of an edge. Like you mentioned yesterday, not a lot of people are going to do the work to looking up each individual box score. Rudy Gay played 21 minutes, 11, 8, 2, 1, and 1. I struggle to see him playing significantly more. And then you mentioned Vassell, who went for 11 points, 4 steals, 4 boards, and an assist, coming out to about 26 DK points. And I'm assuming he's the minimum, huh? Almost the minimum.
And the other guy, Trey Lyles.
Yep. He played 28 minutes, 7 and 9.
Shot 6 threes.
More than anything, though, looking through this one, I probably just am not touching the Spurs tonight.
The Spurs are like filler pieces for me. Like last guy in. you know?
Yeah, only if it works for you. It's Pop, man. Pop's going to pop, and there's 14 games in play. This is not a team I'm trying to hone in on.
The same. Like, I have no problem if I have 6,200 left playing Aldridge, but I'm certainly not like going out of my way to get there.
All right, let's go touch on Memphis. You mentioned your boy Ja Morant. He was big for you in game one. He was good in game two, not quite as good, but still pretty darn good. Is anything you've heard about it as far as what the Memphis minutes are going to be like tonight?
I haven't heard anything, but this is their third game now. I expect them to get ramped up, just kind of like everyone else.
I know you were calling for a big bump up for Morant this year. He was good his rookie season, but going from good to even gooder, which I know that's not the proper way to say it, but he was awesome in game one. A little dip in game two, but he still almost hit 40 DK points in 26 minutes. So, you'll take that every day.
He walked into that. He had a very quiet 40 DK points. I looked up, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he also didn't really seem to see a bump in minutes, though. It seemed to be about the same from game one to game two. Maybe it stays the same. Maybe it goes up a little. Don't know either way.
I agree.
Anybody else from the Grizzlies?
I think you can look at Dylan Brooks if you have that salary. I never mind picking on Atlanta. Memphis is a team I'm interested in, but I am mostly interested in Ja Morant and Trae Young. I think that it's kind of like we talk about that. They go at it here.
Yeah. Jonas had a nice game too, but man, is he pricey. I will say nobody's probably going to use him.
No one will use him here. I mean, he's more expensive than Towns.
And then Dylan Brooks, you mentioned 6,200. Probably won't fit my build, but he's also coming off of a really good game.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, honestly, and we're about to get there, and I can do it because I've, played around the salary. There's a lot of min guys. I like Morant, Trae Young, and Luka a lot. Those are three guys I want. I just want all three of them.
What about Steph?
I like Steph, but I like the other three more, and you can't roster four of them.
Who was the third guy? Trae Young, John. Who else?
And Luka.
Okay. I got that. Makes sense. All right, we're going to keep moving on down the list. We're going to try to keep this a little bit shorter than normal to run through each team just because we got football and basketball today, and we'll hit your favorite picks video later on. Minnesota has no D'Angelo Russell today. So while the point guard position is already very loaded, if Ricky Rubio is inserted in the starting lineup, I mean, he's very cheap for what he potentially offers right there.
Yeah, definitely. I was more looking at Malik Beasley or Anthony Edwards, who are both very affordable.
Also, the position eligibility is huge.
Massive for both those guys. Edwards is point guard, small forward eligible. I mean, that's massive. So
you could run Beasley at the 2 and Edwards at the 3.
Exactly. And I think the shots just open up big time with no Russell. I'm a huge Towns fan, but I said this before the last game. I just don't think he's going to have a monster year, and he's not having a monster preseason.
Yeah, rolled into about 30 points the other day. Didn't shoot it superbly. I mean, again, that could shift. No D'Angelo Russell could be nice for him, but very likely you might see Malik Beasley. Anthony Edwards played 26 minutes and looked a lot better than he did in his first game. So I can get on board with either of those guys. I probably wouldn't play Ricky Rubio, but I don't think anybody will play Ricky Rubio.
I agree. And I mean, especially if he's starting, they got a lot of, guys that can make buckets. He should walk into assists in that spot.
Does have that going for him today, but I do like the position eligibility of Malik Beasley and of Anthony Edwards. So you do have some potential pay down guys right there. I'd probably play Vucevic over Towns, but I get if you don't get up to either of those centers. And let's flip over to Dallas.
I would play Vucevic over Towns too.
Okay. Have you heard anything about what their plans are as far as minutes? Because I think the natural inclination is to see Luka, who played a lot better in game 2 than game 1 and also played significantly higher minutes, that this would kind of be like his last get ready for the season game.
Yes, that's how I'm taking it. I haven't heard anything yet, but that's how I'm taking it.
Okay. I mean, I seem to like Curry more than you do, and I already built the cover, so he's going to be on it today. FYI, since you guys already all saw it, but you're not wrong. The big money point guards today, it is loaded.
Yeah, I mean, I got no argument with Curry, but he's not my guy.
Yeah, I just was bored this morning, so I put that together before talking to you. And Curry was big for us the other night, so I was just piggybacking off of that. Luka looks like a really good look.
Curry was good for everyone, let's be honest.
Yeah. Luka looks like a good look. I don't have anybody else in Dallas I really, really love, though, either.
Yeah, it's Luka for me. I mean, Luka's a guy I have a ton of interest in.
I have no negative things to say about Luka right here. I'm with you on that one. If you want to try to catch lightning in a bottle with one of the cheaper centers, have fun with it, but that's only if you're mass entering lineups. Neither one of these guys would even sniff a main kind of lineup. It definitely seems to be Luka or bust right there. Let's move over to Golden State and talk about the aforementioned Steph Curry. He was awesome last game. Probably gets some love today because he helped everybody. But you're not wrong. This is probably going to keep a guy like Morant pretty low owned.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Curry gets all the love. I think those other three guys outscore him. Curry's amazing, and he had that great game, but I still think they're going to take it easy on him. He's a guy with massive injury problems, just who he is. I think that last game was the best game he'll have all preseason by a good amount.
Well, preseason's almost over, so it's not a bad bet because we roll into the regular season real quickly, boys, and I think we're all very, very excited to get into the regular season, except for maybe you now all of a sudden.
Yeah, right? No, I'm excited about it. I am loving this preseason, but it is like a different type of grind, and it's frustrating when your guys get pulled, and, that's definitely frustrating.
Yeah, another guy that was relatively popular last slate that played really well was Marquise Chris.
Yeah, he was like potentially going to be out, and I know a lot of people didn't go there. Definitely my second favorite behind Curry on Golden State.
Yeah, and he's kind of in a price range today where it was a shorter slate last time out, so he got a lot more love than you'll probably get today.
Most definitely. And I will say, though, like that game really balled last time out. And, I know I stacked that game and it worked out well. But it was a different slate, right? Like this slate is not that slate. There's other good games on this slate.
The biggest thing you guys can do is pay attention till later in the day. We do our best to give information out, but it's not even noon in the Central Time Zone right now. A lot of the stuff comes out late. It's hidden. You got to go onto Twitter, start looking for beat writers and things like that. One of my buddies, Brad, who helps us with some stuff around here, he's been finding some stuff. You've been finding some stuff and send it to me late. And if you got real life situations in the way, the preseason might be a tough one for you to battle with.
Yeah, I will say, though, I think that Curry and Chris are the guys that we're both looking at from Golden State. You like Curry more than I do. It sounds like Curry and Vucevic are guys you like more than I do. I mean, I get that. I like Morant and Trae Young more than you do. From Sacramento, I did have a little bit of interest in a couple guys. One, I think Halliburton's real sneaky. Like now he's 600 cheaper. I mean, he's not. They said specifically that his minutes were going to go down a little bit last game. Like, I think that they'll go up this game.
I have no arguments with that. That was another piece. We mentioned it yesterday. You found that after the first two games locked. Like the information in the preseason is hard to come by. And I saw somebody post on social media somewhere that they weren't having a lot of success in preseason. Like until last night, either did I. I won all my preseason money back last night and more in one lineup. It's going to be a series of ups and downs. It's not nearly as predictable as the regular season. And if you're not willing to look into these things late in the day, there are other people out there who are going to.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I'm a Kyle Guy fan. I think he's got game. He can shoot the rock, no doubt. I don't think he's a bad look here. But this is where I liked Halliburton more than Guy. Like, Guy's priced more because he got more minutes because Halliburton was going to be on a limit. Halliburton's the guy they want to get more runs. So he'd be my guy there. And I also think
cheaper than he was the other day, too.
Yeah, exactly. I also think even at only 15 minutes, man, Bagley is like 4K, and I think he's definitely in play here.
16 minutes the other day. Could play a few more today, too.
Yeah, for sure. And he's aggressive when he's out there. I'm a fan. He's not a lock or anything like that, but he's in play for me.
We haven't even touched on De'Aaron Fox. Do you think there's a possibility that him and Hield play more minutes today? Or do you think they're kind of locked into what they're doing, if you had to guess?
I mean, I see no reason why they couldn't play 30 minutes here. I also feel like, especially Fox, might be way lower owned today because he's let people down. Already talked about all those point guards. I didn't even think of Fox, really.
I mean, our guesses are nothing but that at this point of the day. They are more guesses than anything. What did Whiteside play for minutes? I forgot.
15, I think.
15. Yeah, he also had 31 points in 15 minutes.
Yeah, he was good. Holmes was decent too. Not bad.
So, I mean, if you were to get some information that Whiteside was playing more minutes, that's not a bad look at all.
No, this slate is juicy, though, for a preseason.
All right, we move over to the last game, which is Utah against the Clippers. This is not a spot where I had anybody that I was really overly interested in. I don't know about you.
This is 100% a fade for me, like all around, unless we get news.
Okay.
Like, I think in the preseason specifically, like honing in on games and even teams is like the way to go.
Yeah, I got you right there. I don't trust anything with the Clippers, so it just wasn't a game I was looking at. And Utah played late into the season as well. I'm with you. This game was more than anything, probably a straight up fade for me.
I think there's no reason to go to that game, to be quite honest.
Okay, so I do think that we can come up with this as something that we're going to agree upon, and that is you probably want to go 3 deep on point guard today.
Oh, I will be going 3 deep on point guard.
So, your guys of Trae Young, Luka, and then John Morant, like now you're kind of punting your other positions, but it seems like that's where the priority for your money is going to be.
Yes, and I think if you punt, you use a couple cheaper guys, then all of a sudden you can get like 1 or 2 mid-range guys. And again, I was building earlier when I thought that Fernando might be in play, who's not. But this is definitely where guys like Beasley and Edwards fit, though,
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, for me, and this is kind of what I did last night, and it seemed to work well from a strategic point. And if Harry Giles had played decently, I probably would have cashed in like 7 to 8 lineups as opposed to like 4 of 8 or whatever it was. Get a core of players. And
yes.
Curry's not on here, but like play those guys, mix and match them. And the odds are they're all going to be decent. And then at least in a couple of these lineups, you're going to have the 3 better ones. And then just realize that all the other positions you're looking to relatively play down. So you move over to the shooting guard position. Troy Brown's a guy we'd mentioned, Dylan Brooks, Devontae Graham. You only have the ability to spend up like one more time. So you can get Devontae Graham or Dylan Brooks, but at that point, then you got to spend down a little bit farther. So this does roll over to Malik Beasley that we had mentioned. He was kind of one of those combo 1-2 guards. And without D'Angelo Russell in there, it could only be good for his usage.
Yeah, also a guy like Halliburton really works here at 4,400.
Yeah, basically the same price, same position. That goes something with you. So you'd mentioned Vassell right here, who gives you small forward and power forward eligibility, is a guy that could potentially give you a look right here. Anthony Edwards with his small forward eligibility kind of fits in right there. Rudy Gay, who's played pretty solid throughout the preseason. Miles Bridges, thank you. That was my next guy I was going to say. And then, Troy Brown's another one. This would be like the only guy that you can spend up on moving forward, but he is a guy that we do have a little bit of interest in. So let's put Anthony Edwards in here because it helps a lot.
He's just really cheap for like the first overall pick, and a guy who's got offensive game.
Yes, sir. So we move him into the small forward role, and then you move over to the power forward position. You start kind of rolling up and down right here. PJ Washington, Rudy Gay, Bridges, as we had kind of mentioned. Vassell.
Avija Washington.
Okay. And again, I can't even remember to pronounce his name, but he had a nice game too from Detroit if you're looking to try to get a little lucky with something.
Sekou Doumbouya.
Thank you. And I'm not going to know how to say that ever. Marvin Bagley, as you mentioned. Bagley probably won't play big minutes, but unlike a lot of these guys down here, he's actually like really good. He just, he's never healthy.
It wouldn't be shocking to see him put 20 to 25 DK points up in 15 minutes. And at 4K, if your studs ball, that's enough.
Definitely. Even Harrison Barnes. It's very cheap for a guy who could play 25, 30 minutes tonight.
Agreed. He wasn't good last game, but that's who Harrison Barnes is. I will say, Bridges looks good here. He fits the cap mold. He was already in play. No Gordon Hayward. I mean, he's definitely in play. I think he's a solid look there.
All right. Then at the center position, and this could be one of those things too, like Val, Towns, and Vucevic and Collins. we seem to like the point guards a little bit more. But like if you're playing, like I entered 2 3-entry maxes last night and then did 2 single entries. If you're playing 8 lineups, it's okay to take Morant out of one and go with Val in one, or take Trae Young out of one and go with Towns if you like them, or Vucevic or whatever it might be. We're building around the point guards as kind of the baseline right here, but we don't hate the high price centers.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're not my priority here, but definitely no hate here. I think, well, here though, you do have to go, what, 640, 5,900 or below in this lineup.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at like Clint Capella and Marquise Chris right here. You could build with.
Same. I'll also say, like, I don't love it, and obviously this is a guy I like more than you. But Blake Griffin at 5,300, I don't hate it.
Yeah, he is nothing remotely close to the guy that he once was, but he's better than Washington, Holmes, and Marquise Chris, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing where, like, no doubt he's not close to what he was, but he still does a lot of things for DFS purposes. He has the ability.
Definitely. Also, like Pirtle was a guy we talked about last time. Then we got news before the slate started that Pop wanted to go with a smaller lineup. Well, that doesn't mean that Pop is going to do that again tonight. So if you can find the reports, piggyback off of that, that's not the end of the world.
No, also, like, I mean, I like Bagley, but Holmes, I mean, he's active. He's 5K. Like, he works in this salary mold, too. You know, Holmes at 5,100.
Wagner was a guy I mentioned that balled off the bench the other day. And also with Wagner, like, the Pistons are terrible. So, like, why couldn't he ball against them? We get so obsessed with minutes in the preseason, we forget some of these teams are terrible and some of them are still pretty good.
This is true.
So, and like in this situation, like, okay, I don't love Kelly Oubre, but I don't mind the idea of Kelly Oubre as just being better than, say, Eric Gordon or PJ Washington or something like that.
I agree.
So you could fill in right there, Hunter, whatever it might be, but just kind of a baseline. Something else I wanted to reiterate from a strategic standpoint. So if you're playing like multiple lineups, but not like, say, like 150, like I know you've played like 5 a couple of different nights. I played 8 last night, but have been typically sticking with like 3 or 4 in a lot of these slates. Like if you got guys you like you can run them full, but like not having them in every lineup. For example, like last night, I liked Terry Giles. You told me a little bit later in the day you had heard that maybe the Blazers were going to run their starters a little bit longer. So I played Giles in like 5 of 8. Okay, well, he was not good because he didn't play almost anything. And all those other lineups had Mitchell Robinson and Andre Drummond. So all those lineups got to the top. Like, expose yourself pretty steadily to guys that you like, but maybe don't give them full exposure, especially in like a preseason format like this with scrubs.
Yeah, I agree, but I also like don't necessarily agree. It depends on who it is and who you like. I mean, guy like Steph Curry a couple of nights ago was like 80% owned. I think the only edge you have is to lock him in every lineup if you love them.
That's why I said scrubs and not studs, because Curry.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. I have no problem like locking my guys in everywhere because I try to make each of my lineups individual of each other. So like that's what I try to do. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I always try, if I'm playing 5 to 10 lineups, I want to make sure that unless it's a guy that like a Giannis in a spot where I just love him and I'm just all in with my chips right there, I try to remove him at least once, in case he gets into foul trouble, in case he gets injured, in case maybe I was just wrong about it. So I don't ruin the entire night if like I got everything else right.
Yeah, I get that.
So there's a lot of ways to play around with it strategically. This is another one of these lineups where we like these guys, but your build could be a little bit different. Let's say you went with, like I mentioned Curry, which you can go down to. Also, like you'd mentioned DeJounte Murray. Like you can go down to him in one slate. Now this could be one where you get John Collins.
I got to imagine Curry gets a ton of love here, right?
I would say he'd get a good amount of love because he helped out everybody last time. But again, stay tuned for reports. The idea that maybe last game was his game to get warmed up and they tone it down right here, we don't know one way or the other.
No. And Wagner, how many minutes did Wagner play last time? Do you know?
16-ish, I want to say.
Yeah. It's probably not where I'd go, but he's 4K.
Yeah. He's a guy who can put up DFS points in a hurry. He played 18 minutes and put up 30 DK points.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to chase that, but he's 4K.
Yeah. This is like the preseason box scores for you guys. There are names in here that most of you aren't going to be familiar with. How there's names in here I don't know a good portion of these guys, and they probably won't play very much. It's game 2 for the Wizards. A lot of these guys may not be in the rotation. Who knows? We don't know for sure. Thomas Bryant could get ratcheted up to 30 minutes tonight and absolutely ball.
100%. That was a guy I was thinking about. I mean, again, Avija, who's 4,300. I mean, he had damn near 30 DK points close to it, and he's 4.3K. So I'm interested in him.
24 points in 24 minutes. That's a point per minute. What if those minutes go up to 30?
And I'll take his stat line over the 4 steals from Wagner all day. I mean, that's not going to happen again.
And this brings me right back to a guy named Troy Brown, who stuffs the stat sheet. And we've talked about him throughout the playoffs and the bubble last year and the regular season when Bradley Beal was out. Beal's playing limited minutes and Westbrook is out. Like, what if Troy Brown plays 32 minutes tonight? That's a guy who could drop 50 DK points. We've seen it before on multiple occasions.
Definitely a guy I can get on board with, 100%.
And I think because of where he is price-wise, like classic NBA slates, the mid-tier often gets ignored.
I agree, man. That's one call we can 1,000% both agree with. He's not that expensive either.
No, he's not. And the mid-tier always gets a little ignored in the NBA, which on days where you don't love the stars and the scrubs are less than desirable, it's a great day to build with the mid-tier because people tend to ignore the mid-tier in NBA more often than they should. For
sure. And I'll say this, like talking about your different builds, like we like the point guards a lot. Like it seems like there's 5 of them between like of the high price guys between Morant, Young, Luka, Steph, and Fox. I like the idea of playing 3 because I like them so much, but you don't have to play 3. You could play 2 of them because when you play 3 of them, it really does cap your roster, not just money-wise, but position-wise. So, if you love Luka and Steph, just play Luka and Steph.
If you love John Trey, play John Trey. Do what you need to do. Like, all these guys could be good tonight, and there's a scenario where they all finish pretty solid.
Like, now I know, like, this is why, and I'm not sure how much you had looked at the slate. Like, I like Vooch. I definitely get on board with him. On a lot of slates, he'd be a must for me. There's just other high-priced guys I like more.
Definitely, guys. All right, I got to get my kids back into class. We thank you guys all for watching. 100 likes again, and we'll continue to do these for free until the regular season starts. Have a great Thursday. Best of luck on football and NBA. We'll drop a top picks NBA video later as well as the NFL video.
Thanks, guys.